I hadn't heard this. I mean, I thought the film felt incredibly original and the story felt really original, but I hadn't heard this poem before. But I was reading it's actually quite a famous poem in Sweden. So how long have you guys known it? Was it sort of taught in schools and stuff? Is that how you sort of people come to be aware of it?
I think so. I think like they had excerpts of it like that you had to read because it's also written in verse. So it's like some parts are like everyone basically knows it. Maybe our parents' generation though, because it was written in the 50s.
Yeah, we still had it in school, but I don't think younger generations really know so much about it.
So, I mean, how much sort of more freedom do you think you have adapting a poem than you would say a novel? Because I think poems, by their very nature, are sort of open to interpretation and sort of less guidelines in some way. Did you find there was a lot of freedom when you were bringing this story onto the screen?
No, we felt like we were. Maybe we disagree with.
No, I totally agree on you.
No, because he also this Harry Martinson, he got the Nobel Prize and he has a huge fan club, so we felt really like we have to get this right and like really follow his lead. So I think we were in his prison in a nice way.
Yeah, and it's a really structured narrative, even though it's a poem. The story is the same. The overall story is the same as in the film. So it's very well structured.
So have you had much feedback from his fan club? Do you know? Because I mean, I imagine when it comes to sort of you wanting to impress audiences, they must be quite high up on that.
Exactly. We wanted to impress them, and I think we succeeded actually.
Yeah, we did.
Although we went to his hometown and we were supposed to make a presentation, and somehow we got there before the film, and they like, "Can you just show the film? Get off stage," basically.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is about this story that appealed to you both as storytellers? What made you want to tell this story?
I think one of the things, there's a lot of it, is the like striking images it has, but also as a story, if you see it as a sci-fi story, the premise of a destroyed Earth is pretty common, but it has such a strong like theme or message that in many films or stories where they start off with like, oh, we have to leave Earth, and then in the end they find a new world or they just build one. And then in Aniara it's like, if we screw up, we're fucked.
Because I mean, the film is, it's quite a dark movie. And it's got quite a negative thing to say about humanity and the current state of the planet. But there's also a slight element of hope in the sense that I think that this idea that if things are a bit fucked, basically, it's the idea of this movie. It feels like everyone's just gone, well, we might as well enjoy ourselves until that moment arrives. I mean, tonally, was it quite hard to make a film that had an element of hope, but ultimately is quite a dark, foreboding tale?
I got actually a little bit depressed while we made it because it's yeah.
Yeah, and I think also it's we actually added some hope that's not in the poem. In the poem, it's like they're fucked on page 2 of 150, and so actually the like false hope that the captain does, it's we actually added that.
Because I mean, the film, obviously you said the poem is quite old now, but this film feels incredibly relevant, which is obviously quite sad that it's still as relevant, but do you think this is a really good time for this film to be released?
Sadly it is. I think when we shot it, it was a different world, and I think that the world has changed so much lately, and that it's more relevant than ever, in a bad way, in a way I wished it wasn't. But I think, this whole thing with us being, the whole idea of life, we kind of we're all fucked in life too, that we're gonna die. That's also one tough thing that we're all going through. And I think that the poem in itself is dealing with that too, that it's both like micro, that what's the life in your life and my life and your life, and then what's Earth in the universe, So what's micro? Micro is the small one, and the macro, the universe.
Because you meant obviously a lot has changed in the last 5 years. Do you think if you started making this project now, it would be slightly different to when you started making it?
Yeah, it would actually. I think one thing we struggled a bit in the editing was how much would show the destroyed Earth in the beginning, and the images we have now, people really catch up on that really fast, and just a few years back, they didn't. So something has changed just during the editing process, actually. Also, that how fast you catch up on like what are they migrating from? What's the condition on the Earth? The first like test screens we had, people like a bit, are they out on a cruise or something, and will they get back? And no one asked that anymore. Yeah. It's like, yeah, okay, they're fucked, and then they have to leave.
Because I saw shades of Wall-E, I saw the Pixar movie, I can see in there. But also, I mean, just the idea, films like Castaway, sort of Tom Hanks and stuff, because it's the idea, I think, of where when sort of we're placed in these situations where we have to really dig deep into our kind of human psyche. What do you think it is about that theme in cinema that appeals so much to audiences? Because I love a movie where you have to watch someone sort of trying to survive, basically, or at least sort of emotionally and psychologically survive.
Question.
No, we totally agree with that. There is something satisfying watching those kind of things. I don't know. It's because it actually kind of not exaggerate, but how do you emphasize what we were talking about? Also, we are all mortal beings who are struggling for a life, but in our daily lives, we don't have to deal with that. So I think it's, I don't know, maybe it's not that, but.
But do you have an answer?
Maybe it's hypothetical. It's sort of seeing, maybe thinking, what would I do in this situation, I guess, or how would I react in this kind of, but I don't know, I just love movies like that, I can't help it.
Where do you think you would be on Aniara?
Oh God.
Joining a sex cult?
I think I would be one of the people that decides to just give up on life in the sense that I'd eat as much as I can, I take up as many habits as I can that usually you're not allowed to take up. And just think like that if I'm going to die, I might as well do it in style. That's what I do. So basically, I'll join the sex club. And I was thinking, in the poem, the lead role is implied. It's a man. It's a male character. So I was just wondering what inspired the change of gender for this movie.
I think a lot of it had to do with us being in love with the main actress. That we think she's so good. We worked with her before, and we were. Thinking of that, yeah, we were thinking about her early on as we wrote, and it's even though it's implied, it's never stated that it's a man. It's more like in the gaze and what the Maimaro does, but it's never mentioned it's a man. So we also felt like the liberty to, even though we also think that he intended that we could change it.
That it was a man, probably.
Yeah, probably. And Daisy Doody it was definitely a woman.
So what do you think changes from having? Let's say for example you had hired a male protagonist in this movie. What are the differences you think in this film and the film that you'd be releasing, dependent on the gender of the lead character?
I think we've seen that there already exists a lot of sci-fis with a male lead. So I think it's that probably.
We were so used to expecting sort of the science fiction genre feels like it's entwined with big budget Hollywood movies. And I think, do you think that it's important that filmmakers on smaller budgets, or operating on small budgets, can delve into this genre as well? Because I guess really sci-fi at their core are about humanity in many ways. So do you think that are you hoping that the more filmmakers follow your lead and make science fiction films even if they haven't got a huge budget?
No, totally. And I think we both agreed to Harari that he says something that sci-fi now is the most important genre when it comes to dealing what's happening in our time and how to think and create new images and stuff. So I think that's more important than ever.
And also, you're just wondering about how interested in space you guys are. Because I know is it sort of Richard Branson and Virgin are doing that thing where you can fly up just on top of the Earth for a bit. I just wonder if there was an initiative that was very safe that allowed people to go up into space for like a week. Is that something you'd both be interested to do?
For a week, yes. Yeah. I wouldn't migrate to Mars.
I mean, one could be totally interested in space without wanting to go.
What is it?
One could be very interested without wanting. I mean, I'm super interested in space.
Yeah. So would you go?
No.
I'm just wondering, my final question is just what's next for you both? Are you working on the next project yet?
Yeah, we're staying in the sci-fi genre.
Can you tell me anything about it yet, or is it a bit too early?
Centaurs and robots.
Yeah, some old zombies that we also...
Maybe.
Yeah.
Zombies and robots.
And centaurs.
Oh, cool. Well, so thank you so much for your time today. Cheers.
Thank you
very much. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice. HeyUGuys!